Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we are back with Terrible Tuesday, the series where we of course take a look at really bad cards, and well, today we have another pitch black card, and of course it is Thievul. This is a new card that has come in the set and is actually quite an interesting little card. The original version of this deck I played, it did not go well, and it wasn't really the deck's fault. We were just lacking in consistency, and you know, we just didn't really get to do much, even with the relevant weakness that we had. And we also run into some really terrible matchups. So of course, as per usual, in the description below, there's going to be usual links. Double the deck list, which is also available to copy in the description below. There's the games that I'll play, and of course the outro and what I think of the deck. So today we're taking a look at the Pitch Black Thievul with the attack Skill Thief. If you have no cards in your hand, so it's similar to All Out Slowbro, choose an attack from one of your opponent's Pokemon in play and use it as this attack. Now that sounds pretty good, and it is. Because, you know, whilst it is a pretty awkward card, and that's why it's in this series, All Out Slowbro does guaranteed damage. We need to have someone who is actually, you know, doing something in that regard, you know. We need them to actually be playing a card that can, you know, be copied and is relevant and worth copying, that sort of thing. So that's why Thievul's in here. Now, the original deck list that I played was playing the Dipplin with Festival Lead. However, that variant just was very inconsistent, even in testing. So, after some, you know, reworks to the list and an extra attacker, I've decided to go the Seaking route. Now, that may seem like a bit counterintuitive, given we are, you know, requiring, you know, no cards in hand. But the point is that with the Festival Lead engine, we can always find a Lillie, we can always find an Ultra Ball, you know, that sort of thing. And Rapid Draw just gives us that consistency that we are begging for in this deck, I'll be brutally honest. Obviously, Rapid Draw for 60 is a colourless energy, so we don't need to worry about what energy we are playing in this deck, which is a good thing, because, well, Thievul needs Ignition energy in this deck. So in terms of energies, we do have, of course, Ignition energy, but we get to play Spiky energy, which is an energy I quite like. And of course, in the last episode, which was Relicanth, we got to play that. But we also get to play some Fires. Now, one of the matchups I ran into was a Empoleon sort of deck, and Moltres would have really helped in that. So I'm adding in a Moltres with, of course, some Fire energies. Because like I say, Seaking doesn't care what energies we have. And it's also an out to Cornerstone should we run into that. Same with Thievul, as Thievul doesn't have an ability. But other than that, let's go to the deck list, and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. Like I said, my original variant did not work well, and I was quite ashamed in a way, because you know this series is designed to test my deck building, but also you know I can't really depict the matchups that we're going to run into, so you know we got quite unlucky, and obviously with the deck having a bit of consistency issues, that's why I've decided to switch to the Seaking route. So of course we have 3 Grookeys, 3 Thwackeys, 3 Goldeens, 3 Seakings, 2 Nickits, 2 Thievuls, 1 Shaymin, 1 Psyduck, and 1 Moltres. Then we have 4 Lillies, 2 Kieran, 2 Boss, 1 Lana, 1 Gladion's Final Battle, 4 Buddy Poffin, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Poké Pad, 3 Night Stretcher, 2 Air Balloon, 2 Brave Bangle, 1 Maximum Belt as our A spec, 4 Festival Grounds, 4 Fire Energy, 2 Ignition Energy, and 2 Spiky Energy. Like I said, this list was originally a Dipplin list. Obviously, this was, you know, Grass Energies. This was an extra Grass Energy. You know, there was a couple changes to the list overall. But the thing that obviously made it so tricky to, like, actually get going was the lack of consistency. Even with Quad Lilies and obviously having the Festival Lead engine, we was just breaking constantly. So I figured, you know, Seaking, whilst we do have less access to Seaking, because obviously we will need to find energy manually. We will need to find, obviously, evolutions manually for the Seaking. But what it makes up for, or what it lacks in that regard, it makes up for with its consistency of Rapid Draw. And obviously, like I said, we can just, you know, play Ultra Balls. We can play Lillie to, obviously, you know, go to a lower hand size. So, you know, plus we're going to get red carded, no doubt, during this games. But also, Goldeen itself is a Festival Lead Pokemon. So we don't even need the Seaking in play. We just slap an Air Balloon on this Goldeen and call it a day. So we can go boom and groove whatever we want, go into the Thievul, use the Thievul, etc. So that's really why I've decided to switch to the Seaking engine. I'm really hoping we can get at least one win out of this, because losing 3 times in a row just really put me on a downer when it came to the Dipplin version. So let's get some games and see how we do. And welcome to our first game. Obviously we are playing on casual, as said in the last series of, well, episode of this series. Yeah, this has obviously been like, you know, I've literally finished recording the, well, I'd say finished recording, obviously you won't see it. I obviously finished the Dipplin version and went 3 losses in a row. You know, I faced Zoroark, I faced this Empoleon deck which had Aurorus in it, and then I faced, what was the last deck? I can't remember now. What was it? I'm trying to remember now. I'm generally trying to remember. But yeah, we ran into some of the worst matchups. Oh, hello! It's Erica's Victory Bell. Interesting. This is actually a deck, spoiler alert, that you'll be seeing in this series. Not the, you know, the Meganium version, mind you. I'm playing a bit of a different version. But no, this is actually a deck we're going to be playing in this series later, so it's actually kind of relevant that we're running into this. I think the game's just, yeah, the game just bugged out then. That was weird. So we can gather in the Blossoms, grab any card he wants. I think the game's just playing up for him, because he's using Tangela. And obviously we haven't seen what he's grabbed. He's got a Bangle as well, so we need to be careful of that, so that's fine. Okay, so let's go for a Buddy Poffin. We'll grab ourselves a Grookey, and we will grab ourselves a Goldeen. We can establish thingies later, so it's not a big deal. I don't need to bench anything, so I'm just going to pass. Because I can I can get Poké Pad, and I can boom and groove for whatever I want. So that's fine. And with his low hand size, I would imagine he's not really got anything. It's not my connection anyway, so don't worry. Oh, is he going for a Melt? He could go for the Melt attack. He could also go for Leafy Cyclone. The game is really lagging now. That is crazy. He's obviously played the Lillie and obviously evolved this to a Weeping Bell. Okay, well, I mean, he could whip the knockout. But I feel bad for my opponent, because this is technically, you know, this is technically taking time out of his turn. The game may not even let him play any of his cards. Oh, there we go. Gather the Blossoms. Erica's Gloom. He's got a very similar build to me, it seems. This is actually pretty alright. Oh, he's got the EX. Okay, I'm just playing the Gloom as, you know, tech, so to speak. Poké Pad, grabbing a Bayleaf. Yeah, this is consistent. What can I say? And he's going to go for a Melt. Well, at least it's not someone from Twitter, I guess. Alright, let's see what we can do. So we can evolve to the Seaking. We can then Poké Pad for a Thwackey, and it's a Grookey then. So we can do that. We can then Poké Pad and grab another gold. In fact, I can grab a Nickit now. Nickit's not going to be too relevant, but we can at least do something with it. I'm going to Bangle the one on the bench, and then I will Boom and Groove. And grab a Lillie, because I need to Lillie this hand. This hand is awful. And we will Lillie. Okay, there's a Fire Energy. Excellent. So I'll put down you. I'll attach to you. I'll Bangle the Nickit, I guess. The problem is there's not really any good attacks to copy with Nickit, so that's something to bear in mind. We'll put down the Festival Grounds, and we will Rapid Draw for 60. Hit the Weeping Bell. That's not bad. And then we will Festival Lead, do it again for another 60. And down he goes. Obviously, we do have to be careful about decking out, but that shouldn't be too much of a concern. There's the Erica's Gloom. So we actually need a bunch of damage mods to knock out a Victory Bell. Well, not a Victory Bell, a Vileplume, sorry. There's Meganium. There's Vileplume. We could... How much damage is this? Oh, it's asleep and poisoned. Could we do it with Thievul? We could. It'd be messy, but we could do it. We could. There's a world in which I'd do it. That's for sure. It's not a very big world, but we could potentially do it. So hold on. So 160, 190. No, we're sure we can't do it with Nickit / Thievul. Can we do it with Seaking? Yes, but we need Gladion plus Max Belt. Okay. So we need a Gladion this turn. So let's start off with this. We can then Ultra Ball away the Psyduck and... I'll get rid of an Ultra Ball. That's fine. So we can grab another Thwackey. Okay. So then I'll attach down here. Max Belt the Seaking. Ultra Ball away these two. We had Gladion in deck, didn't we? Yes. Okay, that's fine then. So we can knock this out. So I will just grab another Goldeen. But then again, no, I can just grab a Seaking and just set it up on the bench. I can just Poké Pad for another Goldeen. So I'll play the Poké Pad. We don't even need to use Thwackey. But we need to use one of them to grab Gladion. So then we will Thwackey, grab ourselves Gladion's final battle. And we will knock out this Vileplume. So we'll play the Gladion. So then we hit 190 with Rapid Draw, which is bonkers when you think about it. And then because we have Festival Grounds in play, we can do it all again. That is 380 damage with a Seaking. Yeah, this version's infinitely better than the Dipplin version I played. Infinitely better. That is wild. That is absolutely wild. Does he not have Forest of Vitality in his deck? But hey, so far, Terrible Tuesday's deck for today is beating a future one. Albeit a different version, but, you know. Minor spoiler alert for you guys, but I'm sure you don't mind. But no, that is bonkers that we just did that. Obviously, we only play one Gladion, so we do need to be careful in that regard. But we can still hit 220 into, you know... we can still hit 220. I like the idea of the Gwyn as well. That's pretty clever. Because then you could just search and just draw. You can search off the Tanglers, thin ones that you're not going to need, and then just Gwyn them away. That's pretty clever. I didn't think about that. So there goes those. We're going to see a stadium come down now. I would assume. The Victory Bell's 150 HP, isn't it? I think. Yes, 150. So it's going to be quite tricky for us to deal with now. But we can use the Thievul. But then again, we can't. What does this do? Paralyzed. Use Solar Beam, but that's not too relevant. Use the Poison Attack from Gloom. I was going to say, if he puts down a Vileplume, we can do something with it. So we can actually take the knockout here with Thievul if we're, you know, if we're good enough here. Okay, we might have a knockout with Thievul then. We're going to have to play a few different cards, but we could potentially do it. So, we're going to need Ignition Energy. So first of all, I will Boom Boom Groove for a Lillie. Because Lillie lets me reset this hand, because this hand is just full of junk, and I don't want it. Okay, that's good to see. So we're going to evolve here. We can go do this, get rid of this. So we can grab, because we need to bench this Grookey, so we can't afford to grab anything right here. So we'll do that. Ignition Energy, we'll then retreat into the Thievul, and we will Skill Thief, copy Bloom Powder. Well, whatever it is. Yeah, Bloom Powder. That's how we sequence, folks. Oh, this is funny. This deck is funny. Like, I'm so glad I switched to the Seaking version. I lost 45 minutes of my time doing the original Dipplin version, and the Seaking version's just infinitely better. We love to see it. I don't think... how many ignition do we have left? We don't have any ignition left. Okay. So we can't do that play anymore, which is unfortunate. But, well, in fact, no, we can. We just have to manually attach, which I don't like. Because he's just going to Bloom Powder us. How are we taking our last 2 prize cards, then? That's what I want to know. That's not for you to worry about, that's for me to worry about. He's got a boss. Bring up a Thwackey. Okay. Do we have an Air Balloon left? We should have Air Balloons left. That is a very sparkly grass energy. Jeez, that made my eyes go funny then. Yeah, we need an Air Balloon, and we need it now. Well, that's a good start, and that's also a good start. Okay, that's not too bad. Because we won't be able to one-shot this, but we can put it to sleep, I guess. So we'll do that. We'll evolve this, and I will pass. I need to find Lana's aid. That's for sure. Because we could take it, like, we could hit the Vileplume with Skill Thief, and potentially it stays asleep. I don't know. But that could be our win con, is we hit this Vileplume. We could also just Seaking it twice with another Festival Grounds. That could be an option. I think I like that more, because then we're putting 180 on the Vileplume. And even if it heals, we should be able to still knock it out. I like that idea. I like that idea very much. There's a Night Stretcher. Perfect. We can grab ourselves a Fire Energy back. I do like that. So we'll go for the Seaking. We will then Boom Boom Groove, because we do need a Festival Grounds. That's our last one. Okay, that should be fine, though. We should have game with the plan here. I'll play this so I can thin it. And yeah, he's not happy that I bumped that stadium. I don't blame you. So I'm doing 90-90. So 180 minus 30 for the heal. We should be okay here. So we'll go Rapid Draw for 60. Well, technically 90. Draw 2 cards. Festival Lead again. Do the exact same. So like I say, even with the heal, we should still knock out this Vileplume with no problem. Assuming he doesn't have another way to heal this Vileplume. Which I'm hoping he doesn't. So he's got a lovely Fragrance. So we need a damage mod then. We need a Kieran to do anything here. Could we have game with this? If he retreats, then we have game with boss. Using Spiky Energy on a Seaking. But then again, no we don't. We are 40 short. We would need another Bangle. I don't think we have another. I don't think, anyway. I mean, could I thin this hand down, realistically? How many Ultra Balls have I used? All 4. Okay. This is going to get tricky, then. For now, I will promote the Seaking, because obviously I can Boom Boom Groove. For now. I need to check the deck. Because I don't think I have another damage mod. I don't think. Apart from Kieran. But we can't really use Kieran right now. Actually, no. We have game with Moltres. Yeah. I can just boss for Moltres. I'm so glad I put this in this list. I've completely forgot about Moltres. So a Night Stretcher back, a Fire Energy, attached to the Moltres, Air Balloon the Seaking, boss the Vileplume, and it's exactly why I put you in the deck list, because I was dealing with annoying grass and metal decks. Down goes Vileplume for 2 prizes and game. I will take that. That was a bit closer than I thought, but the fact that we was able to use the math and just take out Vileplumes and stuff, and even taking out that Victory Bell with the copying the Vileplume's attack, that was so key. Thievul definitely did help us in that matchup. So let's go to a game 2. See, I'm so used to playing a Festival Lead deck without a Moltres in it. Like, I didn't even think of the Moltres, and then I was like, oh yeah, I have Moltres in here. I can win with this. You know, you just forget, because like, yeah, I can, you know, I built the deck about 10 minutes ago. Well, not 10 minutes ago, you know, from before this video started, but you know, I didn't think that the Moltres would come up that quickly, but I'm glad it did. Because like I said, we're using Fire Energy anyway, so it just made sense, in my opinion. And that's a mulligan. That's completely fine. But no, I'm well happy with that. I'm well happy we won that game. I'm actually happy we won a game with this variant. And we do start a Goldeen. Are we going first or second? Second, that's fine. Because I can attach to the bench Goldeen. That is fine. And a Badoo. We need to play these Ultra Balls then. Well, play this Ultra Ball, I should say. Because I could just go Ultra Ball and get a Grookey down. And then I can Lillie. Depends on what we're up against. Because if he's just going to have Badoo, I'm not really... I'm more than happy to attach to the active. I'd rather attach to the active if it's just a Badoo. So, that's fine. Litwick. Is this Chandelure, by any chance? And I don't mean the fire-type one. Okay. Might have ourselves a single prize face-off, which is actually quite awkward for us, but we'll gloss over that. So yeah, I'd rather attach to the active here, I'll be brutally honest. I'll Air Balloon here. I'm not going to play this Ultra Ball, I'm going to Lillie. Excuse me, if you keep hearing me hiccuping, that's... I don't know why I keep hiccuping at the minute. Do we want to establish a Nickit? I don't see why not. And then I'll Ultra Ball away you, and I'm probably not going to need you. I can grab another Grookey. And pass. I'm happy with that. Because obviously the Litwick that he's got on the bench is fire type. So if it evolves into a Lampent, just like it did, we should be fine then. If he just passes, like, attacking with Itchy Pollen, we actually have game with Seaking. We don't need to do anything else. And no, he's got a Lillie. Of course he's got a Lillie. Why wouldn't he have a Lillie? So is he just playing like a Chandelure, like, hand disruption deck? Or just like, is he playing Mega Frostlass in here? That's what I want to know. I'm not too bothered about Mega Frostlass. He's going for the Fire Blast. Interesting. Not the play I thought you would have done, but sure, it's your deck at the end of the day, but I personally wouldn't have done that. Yeah, you're taking a prize card, but I'm going to take a whole lot more. So Lana's aid, we will grab back you, and you. Oh, I think my game's bugging. Let me do this old trick, see if that works. Yep, there we go. Tried, like, going into your discard pile, and that should make it work. I don't need to mention Moltres here, so I will just rapid draw for 120, because of weakness. Take out the lamp. That lamp has been put out. I hope that's why you cover your candles. I'm making puns all day long, aren't I? Even if he comes up with Badoo, I'm not really bothered, because I'll just knock it out. Of course I'd love to perform another attack. I want to take out the Badoo. Nice, I'll take that. This hand, though, is going to be a bugger to get down. There's Gladion, so that's good. The nice thing is, this deck isn't one that you really need a prize check for. As long as you don't prize your ignition, so you can use your Thievils, you're fine. And yeah, it's Mega Frostlass. Okay, that's fine. Lucian. I do love a Lucian. Do love a Lucian. Let's see if we get a heads. He gets a tails, because he flips first, because he's turn player. And do we get heads? We do not, but that is okay. Fire, Kieran. And he's just going to scoop it up. I'll take it. That's another win. He really should not have attacked with the Lampent there. He should have, you know, even with me swinging twice, he should have gone, give me the Badoo, item lock me with a Badoo, like he should have done. And then, once I take the knockout on the Badoo, give me the Litwick. Because then you still have an attacker in the form of Lampent. Because I have to 2-hit a Chandelure, the fire-type Chandelure, because it's 130. So that would have been a better play, but again, they're probably just learning the deck. Anywho, let's go to game 3. And welcome back to game 3. It seems we might have paired against the... What deck was this? Have we paired against the Erica's dude again? I recognise the username. I think. The username looks familiar. I don't always look at usernames, So that's just something to bear in mind. I don't always look. But yeah, something tells me we've ran into him. We haven't really used Thievul much. Obviously, we didn't get to use it in the last game because the opponent conceded. Yeah, it's the Erica's deck. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to start the Nickit then. Yes, I was right. It is the Victory Bell deck. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, this version is different from the one that I've built for this series. I don't know when I'm going to do that one. Like, in terms of, like, when I'm going to play it for the videos. But don't worry, I'll soon tell you. I'll soon let you know. Well, I say let you know, you'll find out eventually anyway. Might even do it next for this series, to be fair, because it only makes sense, you know? If only this had 40 HP and I had an Air Balloon, I would have Moltres it for a knockout. Unfortunately not. Ooh, that's 2 Goldeens prized. That's not good. So we'll go you and you. Because I'm probably going to lose this Nickit, because it is Grass Wheat, remember. I don't need to Bangle, but it does thin a card. Do I want to attach? Not right. And then again, no. I can attack with the Goldeen potentially. Well, not Goldeen. I can Thwackey for Seaking. That's fine. There's another energy. He's going to go into the Weeping Bell. And he's just going to straight up go into the Victory Bell. Okay. If we top deck Seaking, we could actually, well, not if we get into Seaking off the top, we could actually knock out this Victory Bell now, which would be insane. But no, it's great minds think alike, is all I'll say. Like this matchup, anyway. So we can go for the Flower Garden Rondo and take us out, but that's fine. He's going to go another Tangler. See, I think the mistake he made last game was he was setting up too many Tanglers. You only need 2, in my opinion. He's grabbing another one. I don't think he's learned from last time. Gathering the Blossoms. I mean, if he... Did Tangler ever... Well, not Tangler. Did Erica ever have a Tangrowth? I don't think she did. In the rematches in Heart Gold Soul Silver she did. I think. But anyway. Less about Joe being an old man and remembering the good old days of Heart Gold Soul Silver on the Nintendo DS and all that jazz. Okay, well, I think, like I say here, I think my best option is to actually swing with, you know, a Seaking, but I'd rather Boom and Groove for a Lillie, because then I'm seeing 8 fresh cards. I don't have to kill the Victory Bell. I can just hit it twice, and then I can finish it off later. There's a Seaking. The fact that we prized 2 Goldeen is a big worry for me. I can establish Moltres. Because Moltres with Gladion can definitely do something. And also I can finish this off with a Moltres attack, so it's not a big deal. I'm going to evolve this first. And then, yeah, a Rapid Draw for 60. Twice. It's quite unfortunate we can't take out this Victory Bell, but it's not a big deal. But having 2 Goldeens in the prize cards is really going to affect us. So obviously that's our festival leader, you know? We can't really do anything without it. There goes our Stadium. But like I say, I can actually finish this off with Moltres using the Fighting Wings for 40. So I can actually finish this off, which is a good thing. He's going to grab a Bellsprout. That's fine. Because you can establish the full line if he wants. So hold on, you just grabbed it and then you just shuffled it straight back in the deck? Huh? Surely you should have benched it, right? Unless trying to save room for a Chikorita. That could be my only thought process. Yeah, seems that's what he's doing. Okay. Right. This is going to get awkward then. Because like I say, we have 2 Goldeens in the prize cards. Which is a bad thing. Which will most likely affect us throughout this gameplay, but we'll try and win this match. Setting up for Bind as well. Because like I said, there's no Erica's Tangrowth as far as I know. And Flower Garden Rondo. That is fine. I can promote this Grookey, and we can draw for turn. As long as I'm bumping stadiums, I'm not particularly fussed. So we'll go Night Stretcher back Goldeen. We can then Night Stretcher back that Fire Energy. So we're going to attach the Moltres, and then we will Lillie. Okay, that's not bad. But obviously we can't really do a lot. I can Ultra Ball these away. Don't really need to grab anything here, so that's fine. I can then play the Poffin, fail it, and then fight wins for 40, take out the Victory Bell. Never thought I'd be using Moltres in this way, but hey, it works, don't it? Now, Erica's Vileplume. I need to remind myself, it's 310 HP, right? So we can actually Moltres it with Max Belt. He's going to go into the Tangler. It's, hold on, let me double check. No. Where is it? He searched one earlier, didn't he? It was a while ago, if I remember rightly. 310, yeah, so we can actually do something about it. If he evolves into it, I can Max Belt knock it out with Moltres, and then we might be able to fish a thing out the prize cards. He's going to go for Bind, which is a problem. I kind of need him to set up another... Well, I kind of need to put him Vileplume into play, because at the minute we're not really doing much. Sacred Ash. Like I said, I like the idea of the Gwyn. This is quite clever, because then you're thinning cards out that you're not going to need. I think it's quite clever, and obviously you have the Sacred Ash to recover any Pokemon you do need. So no, I like the Gwyn. I might have to try Gwyn in the version that I'm playing, because I'm not playing Thingamabob, Meganium in my version. I'm just playing Crispins, and I'm actually playing a Moltres in here, in that version, funny enough, because I went with Fire Energy. Moltres is just so splashable, and it makes perfect sense to play it. Okay. He's thinking about what to put back in his discard pile. He needs to put back the Weeping Bells on the Victory Bell. That's his main thing. But if he puts back the Victory Bell, we could potentially copy its attack with Thievul and knock out the Tangler. Assuming we don't get paralyzed by the Tangler here. He's just shuffling back the Victory Bell. Okay, well, like I said, we're going to get binded here, but there is a chance we don't get paralyzed. I'm so glad this version is working so much better than, you know, the Dipplin version. Because, like I said, we was just lacking in consistency, and even though we've been, you know, we have to put down to 0 cards to use Thievul, it's not been an issue whatsoever. But I think my opponent might have rage quit. I think. Because he's not doing anything. Because if he puts Vileplume down, I'm just going to boss it with Max Belt and kill it with Moltres. Because Moltres will do 160 times 2 is 320, so it knocks it out. But I think, unfortunately, my opponent has rage quit. So, yeah. But, hey, we got 2 wins and we got to use Thievul, so I'm not really bothered. And yeah, I think my opponent has left the room, unfortunately. So I will Air Balloon the Thwackey. I could Kieran into Goldeen, and I can Spiky Energy, but then I may not get what I need. Honestly, I think that's fine. So I'm going to Kieran, go into Goldeen, so then we'll Boom Boom Groove, grab a Seaking. So we'll do that. We'll attach Spiky Energy. And we will Rapid Draw for 60 twice. Because obviously we have the stadium in play. And there's another stadium. Brilliant. So we'll do that. Excellent. Alright, well things are looking up now. But I think my opponent has left the room, unfortunately. Which is a shame, because I would have used Thievul in this matchup. But, you know, I can't force my opponent to stay if they don't want to. Kind of a shame, but hey, we did get to use Thievul a decent bit in this video. Not like the most, but we was able to use it to some extent. But yeah, this Seaking engine is so much better than the Dipplin version. It's not even funny. I'm so glad it's working. But obviously with the spiky energies, it is going to help us if, of course, they do come up with the Victory Bell. We could potentially copy the Victory Bell's attack. So we have more options now. And that's why I like the spiky energy in this list. It just helps us, you know? Because if he attacks for Victory Bell, assuming he's still here, which I don't think he is, it'll take 2 damage counters, go down to 130, and then we can copy Solar Beam on it. So, again, nobody bothered. But yeah, this has been a tough video, but I'm glad that Thievul's done it, and that's game. The opponent has left the room. I'm so glad we won with the Thievul Seaking version. So much more consistent. It's not even funny. Because like I say, if he'd have attacked into the Seaking with the Spike Energy, we would have been able to copy this for 130 and knock it out. So we had so many more options in this deck. I'm so glad that it was worth my time. So, what did I think to the deck? This deck is infinitely better than the Dipplin version that I tried. You know, we don't have to find a specific energy now. We can just play whatever energy we want, and we can play Spikies, which helps our damage, or lack of damage, compared to Dipplin. You know, Thievul didn't get to do too much in Game 2 and Game 3. Like, it just sat there for the most part, but, you know, we could have at least done something with it. But the fact is, Thievul does give this deck a few more options, and I think the Seaking version is definitely the best way to play it. Because, you know, we was able to put pressure on against that Chandelier deck. We was able to just, you know, put pressure on no matter what in the Erika's Vileplume match. And like I say, we was able to, you know, use Moltres with the 20 times 2 for weakness because of the Seaking's, you know, drawing of cards, but also the fact it does it twice. You know, we had so many options in that instance, and like I said, with the spiky energy that we can play, it infinitely made the deck better, in my opinion. But, yeah. Obviously, Thievul is unfortunately ending up in this series because of how awkward it is. And of course, you know, it is something that, you know, it is a tough one to really, like, warrant in this deck list. I would recommend going down to a 1-1 line and adding in a 4-4 Seaking line. Like, instead of playing 3-3, play 4-4. We'll just give you a few more outs. And obviously, if you prize any, you know, Goldeens, it can be quite tricky, as we saw with the third game. But even then, we was able to take advantage of that, and we was able to put the pressure on our opponent, and clearly he had enough of seeing Moltres. But anyway, we'll leave it for today. That's another episode in Terrible Tuesday. Next week might be my version of Erika's Vileplume. Well, not Vileplume, the Victory Bell. Not decided yet, because obviously, you know, it's still a new series, and obviously there are other cards that I want to feature, and if, you know, we ran into that deck by complete chance, so I think it's trying to tell me something. But yeah, I really had fun with this card today, and I'll see you all next time.